Hey, what's up? My name is John Bonjour. I am a comic artist and film enthusiast. I haven't drawn any art. I'm gonna draw some art. I'm going to. Just get off my back. Jeez. But I am going to enthuse about some film. Today we are talking about Agatha All Along. First two episodes of the new Marvel show are out. So let's talk about them. So right off the bat, the first thing I want to address with this and Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the spooky season for 2024 has a very silly vibe to it, and you gots to know I love a good silly spooky season. I'm loving this strange combination of goofy weird effects and genuinely a little bit of spooky moments here and there. It's a great thing. I would like to see, and I'll talk about this a little bit throughout the review, but I would like to see this season overall get a little bit scarier, because we haven't really seen anything that scary this year. We haven't gotten like a good horror movie that I can think of. That might be wrong. Certainly not within this spooky season. So all that to say, I'm not putting all the hopes and dreams of that on this particular show, but it would be nice. But when it comes to this show, the tone is really solid so far. It's only 2 episodes, so in classic Marvel fashion, this feels like the first segment of a movie. I will say this feels a little bit more television-y toward the WandaVision end. I think there's that scale, so WandaVision feels a lot like a television show, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that feels like that's just a movie cut into a bunch of bits. This leans toward the television side, I think, especially with the first episode. That feels like an episode of television, and then the second feels a little bit more like the continuation of a movie, but I think the stories themselves are separate enough that so far it is feeling like a show, which not a bad thing, not a good thing, just an interesting thing about the season. And like I mentioned before, it's a really solid tone. I think this is a goofy, silly, very funny, but not in the classic Marvel kind of funny. It's funny in a very different way. I think it does a good job distinguishing itself from its competitors. The same way WandaVision felt like a kind of a breath of fresh air, this and Deadpool both have felt like something different from Marvel, and it's really nice to see. I think when Guardians came out, they realized, hey, we can just make everything kind of Guardians-y. Not complaining, I love the Guardians movies, but it's nice to see Marvel kind of branch out. This is way on the spookier side. This is probably the scariest thing that they've done, which is not a huge bar. This is not gonna scare you by any means, but it is nice to see them kind of dipping their toes in horror a little bit. And I think that this does a good job balancing the fun, silly, goofy aspects and still kind of having a little horror element. I think it does a good job asking questions, being interesting, and raising the tension, making some really spooky things, which is what it should do because it's a show about witches. And witches in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least from what we've seen in WandaVision, aren't fun. Like, they're not the most frightening things you've ever seen in the world, but they're certainly not caricatures like Hocus Pocus or something like that. They really do have a darkness and a danger to the characters that they are and the magic that they have in this universe, and I like that this show revels in that a little bit. It shows that it is dangerous to be a witch, and also it can be kind of fun. Just based on these first 2 episodes, I think it's extremely clear that this show has a fantastic cast, and that'll be a huge part of the show's success, I think, moving forward. Kathryn Hahn is just a delight to watch in this show. She strikes this very strange balance, because I think in WandaVision, she was a lot more goofy and hyperbolic in the way that she acted Agatha. I think this kind of tones it down just a hair. It just turns that dial down 1 or 2 notches, and it is perfect. I think she does a great job bringing some believability and honesty to those moments that another actor might not. Also, when she gets to kind of go full Agatha again, she's crazy, and it's so fun to watch. She's kind of a bitch in the best possible way. I really love what she's doing with the character, and I think it's interesting that she can kind of sense, at least I get the feeling that she can sense, that everybody was sort of going, why did you make this show? So it's really nice to see her lean into that and have the show justify itself by being something crazy and fun and weird. Other members of the cast are also bringing a lot to this. I think Joe Locke, it took me a second to get into Joe Locke's character, who is teen in this show. I think we know who he is, right? Also, Aubrey Plaza is in this show, and she's wonderful. She's doing a very similar thing to what she did in Legion. I don't know if you guys saw that show. Really good show, very weird, much scarier. Plaza is bringing some of the Legion energy into this, although I will say she's got a certain, I don't know how to say it other than horniness. yeah, she plays the character with an added little zest of horniness, and it's very fun. It's fun to watch. I am calling it now, though. Deborah Jo Rupp is going to be the standout of this show. She is so funny in the little brief moments that we have. When all the witches start singing the song to open the portal to the road, and she just has no idea what's going on, but is also kind of down for the party. She kind of gets to be our POV character, but in a funny way and not in like a whatever that guy's name from the first Hellboy movie was kind of way. I mentioned this before, but this is a show that even I, as the biggest supporter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I think I've ever met, even I was like, why are we doing this show? Like, what is the purpose of the show? A thing that I was mostly excited by because there have been very few projects like that. I think the only other two projects that I've felt that way about were Guardians of the Galaxy and Echo, which Guardians of the Galaxy, it's incredible. And Echo I thought was really solid, if not great. So I've been excited to see what they do with the show because clearly they have an idea for it. But even I was a little bit like, I'm not sure that I'm excited. Case in point, I forgot this show was coming out repeatedly. The other week somebody was talking about Agatha All Along and I was like, oh yeah, when is that? And I found out it was in like 2 weeks. And then the day it came out, I saw a thread posting about Agatha and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's right, that show's out. So I was going into this not uninterested, but certainly not already excited about it. And I'm so happy to report that I will definitely not be forgetting that this show is coming out next week. These first 2 episodes gave us a glimpse at something fun, something mysterious, something really intriguing, and something just different from what we've seen from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I kind of expected it to be cheesier and dumber and emptier. I don't know why I had that sense, but it just kind of felt like a story based on a character that I liked but didn't love from WandaVision, and I just didn't totally see the merit behind it. And now I already love it. I think this is a great show so far. You know, these things happen. I was really into Secret Invasion, and then the end happened, and I certainly haven't wanted to watch Secret Invasion again, so who knows? Maybe this show will fumble the bag at the end, and I'll just be going back and being like, dang, it was close. I liked it a lot, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. This is the first show, if you didn't know, that Marvel is doing a showrunner for, which is crazy that wasn't a thing that they thought they had to do until this point, but hey, we've skated by. There have been some weird moments in all the shows, some strange pacing things. Hopefully, this being the first one that they have an actual showrunner for, not just a random director who does most of the episodes. Hopefully, this will be the first one that feels extremely cohesive. Or it won't. Who knows? Honestly, like I said, we're 2 episodes in, so it could go anywhere. Before we keep going, I just want to take a brief, just a little baby second to tell you that I have a free comic book, Edge of Border Town, on my website, johnbonart.com, and it would mean the world to me if you read it. That's it. That's the pitch. It's free. Go read it. It's fun. I like it so much. It's the best thing I've ever made. Anyway, go read it. Free. Did I say it's free? You heard that part. Now I want to take you on a mystical journey, so pack your bags. We're going on a trip to John's Theory Corner. Gotta get a theme song for this. Maybe I'll hit my friend Lincoln up. John's Theory Corner. This is going to be a brief segment for probably just Marvel stuff that I do, where I just talk about just some theories I have. Just some theories. Just some interesting, fun theories that I have. Just to be clear, these are not based on leaks or things that I've heard. Just general comic book knowledge and an interest in talking about things that could happen. This is what I have been doing since I thought that Venom was going to show up in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
There's a great video on YouTube where somebody, when the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer came out, somebody was convinced, and they convinced me, that Venom was going to show up because there was like a reflection of a shadow on a window, and they were like, that's Venom. I will be pushed out an ass if that's not Venom. And then it wasn't Venom, so I hope they're doing okay.
Joe Locke is playing Wiccan, right? Billy and or Tommy, whichever one he is. It's pretty clear. I think it's Billy. There's no way they'd put that much emphasis on Wanda Maximoff. There's no way they would cast a random teen to look exactly like Wiccan, and then give him some color palette stuff that seem real Wiccan-y. It's just, it is. Also, when he says, oh, my name is and then the M goes over his mouth, could be Wanda, could be Maximoff. I cannot believe I'm saying this. It could be Mephisto. It would also be interesting to introduce him, perhaps before a Ghost Rider, because we can't have just Satan show up, I don't think. But we are in John's Theory Corner, so I'd like to just address another one, which is that Bunny is going to be a monster at some point. It's going to be a big old weird monster. It's going to eat somebody, kind of like a Flerken. This is a concept that they had for WandaVision, but never got to use. No reason they would put that much emphasis on the rabbit if it wasn't going to be something. And then my biggest, most outlandish theory that probably won't happen if we're being honest with ourselves, gonna get something with one of the other dark kind of Marvel side characters. That's a vague theory, but I think it's a vague theory, yes, but it's an exciting one. I think if we do go the Mephisto route, we'll get a look at a Ghost Rider. People have been tossing around the idea of a Ghost Rider special presentation for years. Like, have it be Werewolf by Night-ish. Just an hour and a half, do a movie presentation, whatever you want to do, but just put a thing out. Like, it's so easy to do Ghost Rider. He's a very simple character to get right. Same thing with Blade, but we've seen how that goes. Which, by the way, there's a possibility that Blade shows up in this. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible. Or like a predecessor to Blade or some kind of vampire. We could get a look at that. If I was going to put money down on one character cameoing in this show, I think it would probably be Werewolf by Night and or Man-Thing, or both, one of the three options. My thinking is that it was probably shot near-ish to the same time that they shot Werewolf by Night, so why not do a little thing one and the same? And it's also strange that we haven't seen anything from that side of the universe in a while. This is the first time we're getting even a hint at that. My guess is that they thought, oh, Blade will have come out by the, between those, and then we'll get some more look at that kind of universe. But that didn't happen. So I think it's weird that we haven't seen any of that side of the world. So it's 100% possible that Werewolf by Night shows up in this show, and I would love that. I think that'd be fantastic. Who knows if it's on the Witch's Road or if they get sent to some kind of weird dark dimension, or who knows. To that point, it's possible that Doctor Strange shows up. It's possible. I could also see no cameos. It's possible. I could totally see no cameos. This doesn't seem like a show that's going to move the plot of the MCU further along. Seems like the kind of show that's just a fun, interesting side story. I could be totally wrong about that. I'm okay with either one. All that to say, leaving John's Theory Corner and going back to the show, I love these first two episodes. The musical element has been really fun so far. I wonder if they'll do more of that kind of stuff. I wouldn't mind it because it was really cool. It's fun to see some horror stuff. This is a good pairing with Deadpool. It's nice to see two wins back to back. Just a great time all around. I hope that this show continues to be as good as it is, and I'll see you next week for another one of these. Thank you for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows based on comics, comics based on TV shows based on comics, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below what you'd like me to review next, or do none of those things because I am most certainly not your dad. But hey,